Hey, hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. Hello Rai-san, hello Vidim-san. Thank you so much for coming. So just to get into it really quick, today's stream I wanted to kind of continue on from the last one where we were talking about tatari and stuff. And then I wanted to go into the next topic for today's stream, which is a little bit more like personal. Not personal, but like like more to do with like things that happened this week and things like that. But so just to go on from the last topic, so last time we were talking about tatari, and I said like, why do some people have like tatari or like bad things happen to them or like feels like divine punishment, but then like people who feel like they deserve it more, they don't have like anything happen to them in particular. So the simple answer, like traditionally speaking, is that like tatari would only happen if you like directly offended the kami-sama, like a particular kami-sama at their shrine or like in their worship or something. But then sometimes people think like tatari can happen like even if you don't do that. But it's complicated, right? But basically like that's the traditional thinking. But as far as I understand it, like in my own understanding between like the traditions and then reflecting on how people understand it and like if people are like why do good people who mean well get like bad things and curses or like what seems like a curse and then people who are like more like in power and then it seems like nothing bad happens to them per se. And hello Ines and welcome. But the two thing is, oh hi Sophie, welcome to. But the thing is that like first of all, for most people, we don't actually know what's really going on in their lives. Like even people close to us, we don't know deeply all the time like what could be possibly happening. And secondly, I just feel like there's like the world is more complicated than that. Like it would be nice if it was kind of more like simple, as in like bad people get punished by the gods and then good people get rewarded by the gods. Like that would be very easy to understand. But I think in my experience, like the world is much more complicated. And if I were to kind of like use a metaphor to explain it, it would be kind of if like we are like all people and like all of existence, we're all like technically like kami-sama, like mitama no kami-sama, and we just have a physical body. And then we're mitama no kami-sama, and there's kami-sama all around us. So it's kind of like existing in the unseen world, where you're a kami-sama in the unseen world, and then there's all the other kami-sama like doing their own things in the unseen world. And the power level, I guess you could say, is more like equalish, so like maybe like for example like tenchika no kami-sama is more like the root kami-sama and like very like powerful with like lots of connection and influence over the world. But ultimately every kami-sama exists with their own will and their own power and their own influence, and all of that is like converging together and causing many different reactions and like different kinds of like connections and reactions and consequences, and it's just very convoluted like that. So it's like if like people ask like why does the like bad people per se don't get cursed or they don't get stopped or they don't die from a tatari or something, but then like innocent people like who didn't mean to do harm end up dying from tatari, or like something bad will happen to them. To be honest, the wisest thing I can say without trying to make it like a whole lecture is just that it's complicated. Like it depends on every single situation, every single circumstances, every single variable. So it's not easy. Like you can't just say like it's this way or that way. There's so many different variables and you have to like research and understand each one for each particular situation. And just because we don't see like an immediate result or immediate reaction. um from our human perspective, we might not see like a bigger picture, or like how are things like connecting, or like how are they going into play, or like how are they reacting and not reacting. It's much more complicated, and I wish I could tell you guys that it's easy. Like it's not complicated and it's more simple, that like bad guys get punished and good guys get rewarded, per se. That sort of like very simplistic thinking of way of the world. But unfortunately, like in my experience, it's not that simple, and it's very complicated, and it really depends on each particular situation. And again, like traditionally, tatari is something that's pretty much like self-inflicted, like from our own actions. But then also at the same time, like there is a concept of like divine punishment. So it really depends on each situation, and to like understand each situation and the links that they have and the variables they have. So kind of like the advice I give to people who wonder about it is like basically just like I know it's sad, because like you, like a lot of people like pray to the gods and like beg to the gods, like beg to kami-sama, even like in Konku, like praying to Tenchikan no kami-sama, like why don't you stop this bad thing, or why don't you stop this bad person, or like why don't you like kill this bad person, and like all this stuff. There's a lot of like valid frustration and anger and questioning. And even I wonder sometimes, like why can't just like kami-sama just take the life away from really bad people. But I know, like realistically speaking, like things are way more complicated beyond what I can see. And it's not even like you know how some people say like, oh, it's God's plan or something. Like it's all God's plan, and it's beyond our understanding. I don't mean that. I just mean like there's a lot of different factors coming into play, and a lot of variables, and a lot of um like concept of like free will, and like concept of like domino effect, and like butterfly effect, and like everything's like connected in a way. And it's like all of that sort of understanding that would take a really long time to explain like deeply. But I think you guys know what I mean. It's that like I wish it could be simple, but it's not simple, and it's complicated, and it's difficult. Um and that's why like even as individuals and situations in our own lives, like in Konko Faith, like we're taught to do toritsugi, to talk to kami-sama, to communicate with Tenchikan no kami-sama, to work through our individual situations, because of all the different variables and all the different connections and all the different like things that are happening all at once. And even though Tenchikan no kami-sama is like the like root kami-sama and like overarching the whole universe, they're like infinite different kami-sama and like deities, and like forces, and even like our own free wills that are all like coming into this. So it's really difficult, and it's kind of like disappointing sometimes, but I think it's important to kind of try to like accept this, and like try to understand that it's complicated, um rather than like comparing it to kind of like a religion that has like a concept of like good, evil, and things like that, or like destiny, or like fate in particular. There's like divine arrangements in like Konko Faith and stuff, but it's not the same as like fate or destiny. So, but like what I'm trying to explain is that like rather than looking at it from like a typical religious viewpoint, I kind of look at it like a I don't know, it's like like a series, like a novel, or like an anime, where it's like all the characters have their different like wills and like different goals, and they're all like kind of converging together, and they're like fighting for like this character wants to do this, and this character wants to do this, so they're kind of like all coming together and like fighting. There's like a whole complicated story that's happening. It's kind of more like that in real life too, where it's like there's just so much happening with so many different like characters, which is like us as people, and like other kami-sama, and like other situations that are happening, that it's not just so simple. to make things happen or to change things, or why things happen or why they don't happen. So I kind of see it like that. It's kind of like a really complicated like story with like all the different characters that are coming together. So it's kind of more like that. And maybe a lot of people don't want to hear that, I guess. And it's okay if you don't believe it. But that's kind of what I've come to understand when I like have asked these questions before. Like why does it feel injustice? Like why does it feel like there's so much injustice? But it's more just like it's not justice or injustice, it's just a series of events and consequences and like what's the word intersecting paths and variables and different free wills and like all of these really complicated things. But yeah, so I don't have all the answers, but just to like if you ever start to think about that sort of thing in your own lives, like it's good to dig deeper about it and not just kind of think like the a simple answer is that like, oh, like kamisama's is unfair or like not powerful, because a lot of people come to that conclusion where it's like if kamisama could do something but they don't, then they're like unfair, evil. What if kamisama can do something but they don't? It means that they're not powerful enough. But it's not that simple. It's just that it's really way more complicated. And a lot of people don't think that far about it, but it actually deserves to be thought about deeper. How everything in the world kind of connects and like, in like again, like interweaves with each other. I don't know how to explain it, but I guess that's kind of what I wanted to finish up on like with the tatari topic. I think there was more I wanted to say, but that's pretty much what I wanted to finish off with. Because it's just like I you know I just wanted to explain that in my experience, it's just not a simple answer. So I wanted to like put that on the table so you guys could think about it too. Sophie says, if we just assume Kami-sama had a plan, then that's us neglecting our own responsibility to improve the world through our own actions. Yes, exactly. You're like you're right on the nose. Because that like especially in Konko Faith in particular, like that's the whole point of Ayo Kakeo is like Kami-sama needs us to help other people. Like that is like directly the teaching. Like Tenchi Kana no Kami-sama is asking us and like relying on us to be able to like make the world a better place and help others and like, you know, have a kami-centered heart, like thinking about the whole. And that doesn't mean like being self-sacrificing or like, you know, like losing yourself. It means like helping others through being yourself, through showing people how you overcame suffering, how you received blessings, and they can have the same thing. And, you know, we're all coming more connected together. So that's really important. But yeah, we have to do like it's there's a lot on us because like you know like because of what I said, like we are like mitama no kami, like we are kami-sama, and we have like a part of the roots kami tenchi kami kami-sama in us, like in our soul. And this is not just like I know people are like, well, that's just like a Konko teaching. I'm like, well, yeah, it's a Konko teaching, but it's also like a very traditional teaching as well. Like it goes way back that people are part of the divine whole, like they have a divine spirit, like the soul is divine. So we can't just like forget about that power and that autonomy that has been gifted to us. If everything was just fate or like predetermined, there's no point to have autonomy or anything like that. So it's a lot more complicated, and we can't forget the role we have to do in this like situation, like, you know, to help others, to kind of like show them how they can receive blessings, to improve the world through our actions and through our connections with others, which is the most important thing in my opinion. So, you know, I think that's important. But yeah, so I kind of like maybe it kind of was like, oh, it's so exciting, and then I kind of like dropped off. But honestly, I was thinking about it, and there's not too much to say really. Just to understand, just to put on the table, like it's not that simple, and there's a lot on us. And yeah, it's like I okay. So yeah, but thank you for listening to that last part. But I wrote down other stuff in my phone, like what am I talk about today? But like, so something that happened. Oh, sorry, hold on. Redeem San says, but are there other kami particular fair? I don't expect other kami to be particular fair, benevolent, or loving. Ultimately, only Tenshika no kami possess such absolute qualities. Oh no, that's exactly what I mean. Like, that's what I mean by um like the intersection of all the different kami-sama and all of their wills and how things can get so messy. That's exactly what I mean. Because we're like, we ask like, why aren't things fair? Like why did this person get punishment but this person didn't? And it's because of that, because there's so many different kami-sama, there's so many different people, there's so many different wills that are like flying around all over the place, and they're not always in harmony with Tenchika no Kami-sama, who like wants us to be in harmony and wants us to care for one another and wants us to be like balanced. But unfortunately, not every being in the universe wants or like agrees with that or like follows that. So that's why it's like it's complicated and it's like unfair and like it's weird. So like that's what I mean. Like it's not like the will. It's not like Kami-sama's will for things to be weird, and it's not Kami-sama's like not powerful enough to stop it or like control it. It's just that there's so many different like like wills of other beings like all over the place, and it's like messy and it's complicated and it's like, oh my god. And Kami-sama, like Tenchika no Kami-sama doesn't want it to be like this. Like Tenchika no Kami-sama just wants us to all like chill, like just be okay, like be in harmony, be balanced. Where someone has a strength, they have a weakness, but then someone else's strength fills that weakness. You know, but unfortunately, the reality that I've experienced is that it's not always like that, and that's why it gets messy in the world. And I don't think people should come to the conclusion it's like one or the other. Like it's just, oh, that's what Kami-sama wants, and it's not just, oh my god, that means Kami-sama's not powerful. It's like, no, we gotta like think about the whole picture and how it is actually complicated, and where our role in that is, and how we can help Tenchika no Kami-sama kind of like restore that balance or like bring that balance into existence. So yeah, I'm team Tenchika no Kami-sama. I want the balance in the world. I want people to get along. I don't want people to suffer for no reason. So yeah. But so that's that's what I hope, you know. But I think it's good. But yeah. But but thank you. So yeah. Oh yeah, sorry. So what was I want to talk about? Yeah, Team Tenchika no Kami-sama for sure. Exactly. We got to be on the good team, you know. That's the only team. I don't want to be on the team that like wants like, just thinking of themselves or like wants to bully other beings or something, like, no. It's so like low minded, you know. But yeah. Yeah, so yesterday, just like relating, like kind of going to the next topic. So yesterday, a friend of mine, I only knew her online, but they came to visit, and it was really nice to talk to her. And she's like a mudang, so like a Korean shaman. So we like got along a lot about this kind of topic, like about the unseen world and like how it's complicated and like it's not always easy to find a solution to problems, whether that's physical or spiritual or anything. Like seen world or unseen world, it's all the same world, but each side has its own way to like work through it. But it was nice to like talking with my friend kind of made us like come to the same conclusion. And I wanted to share that. So yeah. But yeah, so the other topics I have here on my phone was that so like I don't know how to like start with this, but so like I guess kind of to flow it in is that like in the modern way of life, um like relating to how the reality is more complicated and it's not that simple, connecting to the modern way of thinking for most people is that a lot of us, um and I think I talked to you about this with the other day, but like that a lot of us want like instant results or like simple answers. Like we don't want to hear that it's complicated or it's difficult to work through. So a lot of people just like that sort of like easy instant answer that like gives them everything they wanted to hear and then they're done, you know? Or like a lot of people don't want to think too deeply about stuff in the modern times. Like we just kind of want to like what's this? Like what's the answer to A? And it's like, oh, the answer is B, and it's like, okay, I'm happy. And the one kind of really wants to go deeper into stuff. And I'm not trying to be a boomer. Like I'm not trying to say like, oh, people today are the. I'm not trying to say that because I think it's been like a thing in human psychology and like humanness that has persisted throughout history. But this like innate thing in humanity has been like pulled out more because of the modern conveniences. And those modern conveniences exist, I believe, because of this like innate human aspect to like want things easier and convenient. So I get it. I'm not trying to like judge or like say like, oh, people today are so blah, blah, blah. I don't want to say that, but I think it's like a weakness of humanity that we have, and it's more evident in the modern times because of all the conveniences we have, and especially now with like AI stuff and like technology advancing, it's easier to get that convenient instant kind of answer that's like given to you straightforward. And um like I never used ChatGPT, but like I've had experience with AI because now when you Google something, when you search something on Google, it's like the AI answer is there. I'm like, okay. But like I think that's the thing. Like I see how it answers and it's like very like this is this and this is that. And it's very simple and it's very direct and it's like, okay, you have your answer and it's done. And then like that's okay. Like I'm not saying it's bad, but the thing is like we're kind of losing like we as in like society, modern society nowadays, we're kind of losing that like touch to be like more curious or think about things more complicated and more nuanced, and think about how there's not always like one particular answer to something, and how each situation deserves its own like investigation, its own like thought, its own questioning, its own brainstorming, you know and as much as we want there to be like a kind of like general wisdom or an answer, um and I kind of repeat myself on this topic, but I think I repeat myself because it's very important to me, and I want us to think about it more too, and I want us to kind of like think about it to the point where it's like we kind of practice it in our daily lives. Because even for me, like I'll have moments where I just think like, oh, I just like want the answer to something, or like oh yeah, this is the answer, and then it's done. But I think Kami-sama is trying to show me that it's not that simple, and everything needs its own attention and its own thought and things like that. So especially that is relevant when it comes to like our religious or like spiritual practice, especially. because like for example, I know a lot of people in the Konko Faith who are like, okay, if I just like, if I just read all the teachings and follow all the teachings, I'm gonna be like, and like if I go to the Kyokai every day, I'm gonna be a super good Kongo believer. And I'm like, no, it's good. That's good. Like I'm not saying it's bad. Like it's good to like refresh yourselves on the teaching and like come to the Kyokai and like connect to Kami-sama. But the the problem is that like it ends up being very like stagnant. It ends up becoming stagnant. And I'm not saying this to judge, but I'm saying this because this like I got stuck in this stagnancy myself, because I thought to be like a good minister, I should know all the teachings and I should like do everything right, like do everything the way that is good. And it is good. It's like it sets a foundation to your faith and to your practice. It sets a good foundation and a good understanding. But it's easy to get stuck there. It's easy to get stuck on that first part. When it's more like you have to kind of go in the next level from there. And that's for me with Konko Faith, but I think it applies to really like any kind of spiritual practice or religious belief. Where it's like you think it's like, okay, I just have to do this set of steps and this sort of thing, and once I master it, I'm done, and that's it. And it's like I see that with like everybody, like with many different religions. Like even like pagan people, like people who practice ancient religions, they're like, if I do the rituals, if I do the rites, if I set up my altar really nice, I'm done, and I just have to keep repeating this, and that's it. And it's like I think so, I guess, but it has to be more, right? Like you can't just stop there, because you're just going to end up stagnant. Vadim says, I mean, nowadays, if someone has read all the teachings, that's remarkable. Yes, no, it's true. Some people don't even read them at all. But you have to start from there, right? Like some people like think like, oh, I don't need the teachings. I can just like, or I only need a few. I'm only gonna like cherry pick the ones I like. But it's like, no, if you're gonna like build a connection with Tenchi Kano Kami-sama, the reading the teachings, all of them really helps you to understand like how did the people in the past grow a connection with Tenchi Kano Kami-sama? What were the things that Tenchi Kano Kami-sama advised them? What is Tenchi Kano Kami-sama's personality? What is their way of thinking? What is their way to help others? Right? That's all the sort of things the teachings tell you, and they're really important. So you have to definitely have to read them and understand them and take your time with them. But a lot of people can get stuck there, and that's not good. And Sophie says faith can't be reduced to a wiki. Yes, exactly. Like a lot of people think like, okay, I completed the wiki, I completed the guidebook, I have the checklist is done, I'm the master now, I'm done. And it's like, no. It's like, no. And the reason I say no is because the next step is like, how do you apply everything you learned to your real life, to your daily life? Because like there can be people who like read all the teachings and they're like, oh, I understand Konko Faith, and like I go to the Kyokai, etc. But then like in their daily life, do they talk to Kami-sama? Do they rely on Kami-sama? And it's like most of the time, no. To be honest, like I'm not judging, but like it's most of the time the answer is not, no, not really, because people default to the usual way, which is like, like let's say I'm faced with a problem, right? Like let's say I don't know, let's say what's a good problem that can happen. Let's say I'm running late for the bus or something, right? Like let's say, oh my god, I woke up late, I have to get ready, I have to go on the bus, and I'm running around. And most people, including myself in the past, like in that stagnant period, really. Because I had a period where I was like more close, and then I had a stagnant period because I felt like that's proper minister. And then I'm kind of going back to being like following the way that I understood from the beginning, like to connect closer to kami-sama. But in that stagnant period, with like when a problem arose, I would face a problem and I'd be like, oh no, I'm late, I have to leave. And it's like, I'm just gonna get ready and go, and you're not even thinking about it, right? You're just thinking like, I have to go, I have to get to the place on time, and you're rushing around and you're panicking, and it's like completely natural and normal, right? But but then I something like one day something clicked to me, and I'm like, here I am, like reading all these teachings about like, you know, kami-sama, like you know, guiding Konko Daijin sama, or like guiding this person, or like this person faces a crisis and they immediately ask kami-sama to help them. And I meanwhile me, I'm just like rushing, like thinking about only like my own actions and my own self, and I like kami-sama is not coming to my mind at all, and maybe sometimes like, oh my god, kami-sama, I need to get there on time, but that's like not really, that's kind of like default human nature too, like begging like a higher power to like make things good. But when I kind of like get out of that stagnant period, and then I like genuinely try to be closer to kami-sama and like have kami-sama in my life, it's like the first moment when I face a problem, I'm like, oh, okay, like Tenchikano Kami-sama, there's a problem. Like we have a situation, and like I'm already starting to communicate with them, to ask them like, what should I do? Like, should I rush? Should I just wait? I'm gonna get ready from now, but like, is it not good to take this bus? Like, there's like communication happening, and like reliance on Tenchikano Kami-sama. And like maybe that's not like, there's no answer in the teachings themselves that I read, but like the teachings themselves, like the reason that they exist is from people doing that action of relying on kami-sama when they face a situation from the start. So like, maybe the teaching that says like, you should it's good to come to the kyokai rain or shine, even when it's rainy, because it shows like you have a sincere heart towards kami-sama, and like, even though it's difficult to come, you put in the sincerity and effort to come, and that's like, it's showing like a sincere heart. And like, how did that teaching come from? Is because someone actually came to the kyokai even though it was stormy and rainy, or I should say the hiromai. So even though it was stormy and rainy, they came to the hiromai and they came to worship the kami-sama. And then Konko Daiji-sama gave them the teaching from Tenchikano Kami-sama, right? So it's like, it's kind of like that. It's like transitioning from like the rituals and the lot, like the studies, like the study, the ritual, the formalities, and like moving it towards like a living complex practice, right? So it's like into your daily life, like it's like real life right now. It's not just like, okay, now it's like, when you go to your home altar or the shrine, or like the kyokai in person, or like, and like wherever you take the time to worship, it's like a lot of people just like, okay, here's my worship time and here's my like real life time. But it's important not to do that. It's important to be like, this is my real lifetime with kami-sama, like with with asking what to do and like how to approach things in life. And it's not going to be simple, and it's not going to be easy, and it's not going to be like the one teaching to the one situation, because it's just this is impossible, because we right now are living in the time, like the time that we're living in is unique to us, right? Like, there might be similarities, but we right now, May 27, 2026, or 20 May 26, we are living in this time now, and this is like our era, and it's our unique to us, and everything that's happening in it is new, basically. It's like each day is a new day. And for the people in the Kyoten, like in the teachings of Konko Faith, that was their era. That was their daily lives. That was their day to day. And how did they face it? And they faced it together with Kami-sama. So, I mean, those teachings are like, they have relevance to us now, but ultimately we have to be the ones to keep moving forward from their practice and continue their practice to our lives now in our era, and all the unique different things and different complexities that we have to face, and what is Kami-sama's advice to us now here in this era with all of its complexities, right? So I think that's something really important to remember, so it doesn't become like stagnant, or like you kind of lose connection, or like, you know, especially in Konko, because like, you know, the whole kind of like point, or like the kind of thing to embody is like ikigami, you know, like to show our kami nature as humans, like show our divinity through our humanity. And how do we do that? It's through our daily actions. It's through our daily connection. It's not going to be like, a lot of people just want to, like, you know, a lot of people just want to follow Konko Daijin, or they just want to follow Jesus, or they just want to follow Buddha, or they just want to follow a deity or something, right? They just want to like follow the figure, and they don't want to do anything themselves. But we have to do things ourselves. Like, that's like the most important thing people don't face is themselves, right? They don't look at themselves enough. They don't look at their own divinity enough, and their own actions, and their own connection to the divine. They just like look at a figure and they're like, oh, they did it, and I'm gonna learn from their wisdom, instead of learning the wisdom in their own lives, right? So it's like, that's, we have to kind of like carry on the torch. You know, it's not like looking to the religious figure. It's not like especially in Konko Faith, because like a lot of people just like look at Konko Daijin sama only, and then they're like, oh, he did it, and I'm just gonna follow his teachings. But then they stop there, and it's like, no, you gotta, it's like, now you gotta follow, you gotta pass the torch, you gotta become a Konko Daijin sama in your life. Like, you gotta become the ikigami to, you know, show like how we bring back the balance to this world. You know, it has to be through our own actions. It can't just be from, you know, only listening, right? Like, listening is the foundation. You know, that's like, okay, I'm going to absorb everything, I have the foundation, and now it's like, how do I apply it to my life now? How do I show this through my actions? And that is so hard. Most people don't want to do it. But I'm really passionate about expressing how important it is that we have to carry on the torch. We have to become the next Konko Daijins. We have to become the next like Jesuses. We have to become the next Buddhas or something. And I don't mean like starting a religion and like teaching people and be like, oh, yes, I'm the leader, the grand leader. I mean that we search for wisdom. We search for the divinity in everything. We live our lives connecting to Tenchika no Kami-sama, to the divine, to our own souls. And how do we go through each experience in life in our era right now with all of its complexities, and how do we approach that together with like divine wisdom? So it's like, that's the really important part, you know. Sophie says, big problem in a lot of religions, forgetting that the teachings are more than abstract philosophy. Exactly. Like, you can't just stop there. Like, you have to like go forward with it. And I mean, maybe like maybe that's like me radically saying that, because I know that's like a radical belief in like some religions. Some, like in Christianity proper, you're not supposed to be like, you're supposed to just listen to Jesus and pray to Jesus, but like, and like yeah, you're supposed to help people, but you know what I mean. It's not the same like ikigami. What I'm trying to say, but that's okay. Like I'm Konko, so like I'm trying to say, like reaching that ikigami level is really important to like go through life, or like communicating to kami-sama, asking kami-sama, what do we do? How do we get through this? You know, and that's hard. And I say that's hard because like it's easy for me to say this. It's easy to like just say like, yeah, just like ask kami-sama and it's all good. Like it's easy to say that. But when you're like in the trenches of life and you're like frustrated and you're angry and you want to cry and like everything's going wrong and like or like scary things are happening or like I don't know, it's just a mess. Like a lot of people just kind of like freeze up and like, you know, the thoughts are just racing and it's hard to like stop those racing anxiety, panic, anger, fear and then turn that to like asking Tenchikano Kami-sama like what do we do? How do I get through this? Like that's very hard like in the moment. But that's what it's all about. Like that's what practicing like in Konko Faith it says like practicing faith. That's what the practice is. It's like practicing through these hard times um to connect to Tenchikano Kami-sama even in those times and like ask for the wisdom, ask for the guidance how to get through this specific situation. And a lot of times they say like it's good to just practice it at first in like good times. So, you know, like if things are going good and you're enjoying yourself, you know, you're having like, I don't know, coffee or like you're enjoying a train ride or something. In those moments, it's good to practice like connecting to the divine, connecting to Tenchikano Kami-sama because then you're calm and it's easier and you're like yeah like things are going good like kami-sama look at the weather today it's beautiful you know like just practicing that communication and then that helps when things are going crazy in life to have the habit to even talk to kami-sama in those crazy moments so it's kind of like difficult to do that and it's complicated but it's worth I think it's worth and it's important to do you know. And like I know not everyone watching is Konko Faith, and maybe not everyone watching is like close to Tenchi Kami-sama, or like maybe I know some people are like intimidated by them because it's like big universe. But this goes for your own like internal mitama no kami too. Like it goes for your own internal divinity. Like you cannot forget that inside of us is like our divine soul that's like a piece of like the big universe. So it's important even to, you know, look inside yourself and look at your own um deep down, your own divine self. And, you know, don't forget to connect to that part of yourself as well. Or even if you pray to like another kami-sama or another deity, they also have like everything is connected ultimately to like the big universe whole Tenchikano Kami-sama. Um, so like, you know, as long as you're reaching out and you're not like, as long as you're not like stuck in here, and in here means like the mind, like the human mind. As long as you don't like trap yourself in here, and you try to like keep trying to connect back to the like divine wisdom, to divinity around us, like inside and around, to connect that to learning wisdom, like divine wisdom, like that's the important part, you know. It's not. It's the important part is like not getting stuck here, like in your mind, and like just freezing and like, how do I deal with the situation? You know, like just blind, like you know, blindly going forward. Um, it's important to kind of like evolve that instinct, to because when we evolve that instinct and we connect more to the divine, it means that we gain more wisdom and we gain more experience and then we can use that to help ourselves and then when we help ourselves and we have more blessings from doing that then we can help others through our experience and wisdom and then you know then they learn, and then they can help themselves, and then they pass to another person. So then it keeps going. And the idea is that we restore like the balance, we restore the harmony, then everyone's connected, everyone's in harmony, right? So it starts with ourselves. So that's the important thing. Sophie says, I kind of feel like declaring Jesus was a figure of worship is where it got really confused. I'm sure he didn't even want to be worshipped. No, I personally think so too. The whole story is like intense. I don't think he ever intended to be like, having a whole like situation with Christianity. I agree with you. Like, I think he just wanted to like teach people. If he did exist, I think he just wanted to teach people the same thing. But then people don't want to, they don't want to go past into being responsible for their own thought, evolving their own thought and evolving their own actions. Like a majority of people, they find it like, I mean, even me, like in the past, like it's intimidating, it's scary. You don't want to mess up. So people like to stay in the comfortable zone. But we have to, like, now that I'm getting older, especially, I'm like, no, we have to like actually get out of the comfort zone and actually put in the effort. So he says, reminds you of the Greek concept of pneumonia. I mean, it's like, I'm pronouncing it wrong. Sorry. Oh my god, I'm so cringe. But yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah. Vadim says, if he did exist, is a good remark. Yeah, sorry. I don't know. I gotta put the disclaimer because I don't know like if he actually existed or not. I mean, oh, like internal derivative. Yes, Sophie. Yes. Sorry, I know. I'm just like, I'm bad at pronouncing. No, sorry. Which is like cursed because I'm like half Greek, but I gotta like get out of my like anglicized language. I call it my curse, my anglicized language curse. It's like being cursed to like speak a cursed language. And I'm joking, joking. Nima. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Sophie. Sorry. Oh my gosh. But yeah, so anyway, that's something important I wanted to share too today. So yeah, it's good. It's good to remember. And I'll probably eventually, like, I'm probably in the future going to keep saying this again, just because it's so important. And even if I don't remind myself, I end up like getting into moments where I'm like, a situation's happening. I gotta just do it. I gotta just fix it. And I'm panicking. I'm sweating. I'm like angry, and it's like there's like a big storm cloud all over me, and I'm like, wait, no, like gotta turn to Kami-sama and ask, like, what do we do? Like, let's work through this together. Because it's kind of simple too. Because then you think about it, like that's what Konko Daijin-sama did. Like whenever he was faced with a situation, he just immediately asked Tenshika no Kami-sama, like, how do I get through this? And I think it's as simple as that, really. But then it requires that like step forward. So it's hard, but I think we should try. Oh, hi Lupin, welcome. Thank you so much for coming. So that was kind of what I want to talk about. And then I also want to say, like, in relation to that, so the other thing I want to talk about was there's a teaching that's like, don't like practice faith like obsessively. Like don't try to force it either. So that's also important too. Cause like a lot of people get caught up in like everything I just said, then they'll be like, okay, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna like do this properly, and then like people get really like intense about it. And it kind of like it starts off really strong, and then it kind of ding, like it's like a rocket. It's like, yes, let's do it, and then it's like, oh, and and then they lose motivation. Or like if they keep going, it's like, and then it becomes like kind of like an obsession, and that's not good either. So there's two two teachings that are really meaningful to me for like how to balance this practice. And the first one is like, don't practice it like obsessively, like just try to think of it not as like something that you have to do, like you have to like immediately like become a master in it. It's like understanding that it's going to take time and like consistency, and that's something else that's very hard for humans to do for anything in life. It's like you have to keep a daily consistent pace to evolve a practice. And a lot of people think like if I do it like very intensely, then I'm gonna like finish it sooner. And it's like, no, it's like just like not obsessively, but just like normally, naturally. Back and forth. Like maybe some days you forget, maybe some days you remember, but it's like you had to keep consistently um trying to connect to Kami-sama, to communicate to Kami-sama, and to evolve your divine self and divine wisdom consistently, naturally through each day. And that's what I mean. Like even for me, like it's like some days it's like really good and some days it's like really bad, and I'm always like up and down. But like the important part is like it's not like up and then it stops forever. It's like I'm up and then I'm down, then I'm up and then I'm down. It's like then I'm normal. But the important thing is that there's like it's still going. It's like has the start and then it's still consistently going through like all the ups and downs. So that's the important part. Is like not get caught up in like, okay, I'm gonna become the ikigami and I'm gonna do it, and I'm like, I'm enlightened. I see that in Buddhism a lot too. Like people just start practicing Buddhism and then like a year later they're like, I'm enlightened, I'm done, like I did it. And I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, just 1 year and you're enlightened? And I'm like, I don't know about that. It's kind of funny, it's kind of endearing, but I don't. And I think like even if like someone was reached enlightenment, which is kind of like ikigami, I don't think you would like say it, because you would know like the paradox of enlightenment is like you know so much to the point that you realize, like enlightenment means like you realize that we're all like kind of connected to everything, and like the self is like an illusion and stuff like that, like that. But I think it's also that we understand that there's so much that we can never really understand. It's like that paradox of understanding. And so like to call yourself enlightened means like you've hit like the ceiling, like you've reached the end, like you know everything in the world. But that's impossible. Like it's a paradox because the world is always changing. So like the world you knew on this day that you became enlightened is not the same. It's not going to be the same world tomorrow. So you'll never be finished. Like because the world is changing constantly, and kami-sama, like the universe is changing constantly. You're gonna have to keep up. Like you gotta keep up with that, right? So there's never like you're never like, I'm done, I'm enlightened, it's over, like I'm ikigami, I'm good. It's not that easy. So that's why consistency is key, because then you keep up with the universe, right? Like you're keeping up with the flow, the changes, because it's always going to be different. Like I'm like, I've been talking now for like 53 minutes, and I'm pretty sure like a million things happened in the world in those 53 minutes. And even in my body, like I'm probably something happened with like cells or like bacteria or something, like I don't know, right? That's the scary part, but that's the reality too, right? Like Tenchikan Kami-sama is so crazy big. There's so many things happening in the universe. There's so many things going on every second, every nanosecond. So you're never done. Like that's the paradox. You're always gonna have to keep up with the flow. So Yeah, that's why it's like if you try to do it obsessively, you're just gonna burn yourself out, and you're just gonna be like go up and crash. So that's why it's like remember that you're like on a flow, and you're like following the changes, and you're following Kami-sama's, like you're following the universe's lead, and that makes it easier to kind of like go forward and closer to Kami-sama. So that's important too. Lupin says, that was me at the beginning of my Konko Faith journey, trying to do 3 prayer services a day while also working. Yes. it's I'm not saying it's bad. It's good. It's good to try. It's good to try that, but you know when it's not working out, like there's not the flow, right? It's like it feels like I got to do this, but it's like really tiring, and it adds to the stress, and it's like, you know, it's difficult. Lupin, Lupin quoted, why haven't I gained anything from this tradition that's all about detachment? Yes, exactly. Oh my God, about Buddhism. Yeah, no, it's exactly true. It's like, it's like there's so much to learn, there's so much to understand. And it's like, we're not like, and even like, again, like even if you're enlightened one day, maybe you're not enlightened tomorrow. Or like, even if you're ikigami one day, you're not, that doesn't guarantee your ikigami for forever, right? Like what made Konko Daijin sama and like the disciples ikigami is that they kept consistently practicing the same way, as in like, like having that divine virtue through their human self be expressed through their daily actions, through their daily understanding, through their daily connection with Tenchi no Kami-sama. It's not like you get it and then you're done. Like it doesn't work like that. Um, it's like it's always gonna be like forever, right? It's gonna be forever. And even like people say, like, what about till you die? And I was like, no, not even till you die, because even after you lose your physical body, like the belief is that we keep going, like the Mitama no Kami is still going. So we got to keep going. Like we got to keep up with the flow of the universe. Lupin says, I love to become ikigami, but I think that the more sincere I practice, the further away I feel from it. Oh yes. Like, yeah, like like if I'm understanding this right, it's like the more sincere you are, the less you feel like you need to like be like have the goal of ikigami, right? Like it becomes more innate or more important to practice sincerely faith in kami-sama. And I think that, like in my opinion, I think that's what Ikigami Konko Daiji sama reached to, because he was always like, don't call me ikigami, like I'm not ikigami, I'm just like a manure carrier, I'm just a farmer, like don't call me ikigami. But everyone's like, no, you're ikigami. And like I think people can read that as he was just being humble, but I personally interpret that as not just him being humble, but it was him understanding like how vast, and like he really understood like what Tenchi no Kami-sama is, like what the universe is, and like how vast it is. And like to be ikigami, to show your kami nature as a human, it's like understanding the universe's like kami nature, and then my like mitama no kami nature. It doesn't feel like I don't, like it's like it's connected and it's the same essence, but it's like you recognize there's like a difference too. And I think that's kind of for him, for Hiyome Kokodaiji sama, where he would be like, I'm like ask Kami-sama, don't ask me. Like like I'm not ikigami, like Tenchi no Kami-sama like is the one to rely on, at the Hiroman. So like I kind of get it, I mean that's my interpretation. When I think about the universe, like really, like when I think about Tenchi no Kami-sama, like the consciousness of the universe, like my brain hurts because I know that there's so much happening like all the time and like every minute, and like it's like It's like really scary actually, because it's like in my body alone, in like my cell, like one cell, there's like a million things happening in the one cell, but then there's like a million bajillion cells and they're all happening at once. And I'm just one person. And there's like 8 billion people. So it gets really scary because you're just like the like scale of what's happening is kind of terrifying. So you're just kind of like, okay, like I have to stop thinking about this because I'll just like explode. So it's like, we have to kind of like simplify it. But I think if we really think about like what is like Tenchi Kano Kami-sama, like the Kami-sama of this like universal workings, I think it gets really scary. So we have to kind of like simplify it. Like, yeah, the workings of nature is so good, It's like, oh my god. And then sometimes, for some people it's like I gotta like, I gotta like kind of ground myself more. And it's like for some people, like even for me before Konko, it's like easier to connect to the divine through like, one specific deity. Like for me at like one point it was like Hermes, and I'm like, Hermes is cool. Like he's, the god of like all this stuff. And like he helps me connect to the other gods and he's so nice. And it was like easier. But then like, and then Hermes is like, okay, so here's Tenchi no Kami-sama. And I'm like, whoa, like it's like this whole like huge existence and like very intense. So I'm just like, so it's like there's that level to it. It's like you have to understand the divine nature is like the divine nature in ourselves and the divine nature in other deities, the divine nature of the universe. And they're different, like everything's connected, but it's also like different levels, and it's kind of like you have to get used to that too. It's kind of like the ocean. Sorry, like just really metaphor for a second, but it's kind of like the ocean. You know how like the surface level is very like normal, and it's like dolphins and sharks and fish, and then you get deeper in the ocean, it gets weirder and more scary and more intense, and like the pressure is harder. It's kind of like that. Like it's all the same ocean, but there's like different aspects to it and different complexities to it, and it's kind of like that. So yeah, but and then that's why it's like if you call someone ikigami, I think to ikigami konkodaiji sama, it's like calling him like the whole ocean, but he's like, I'm not the ocean. Like Tenchi no Kami-sama is the whole ocean, and I'm just like this part of the ocean. And everyone is like a part of this ocean, but like to understand it as the whole, it's like a little bit different. So I don't know if I explained that well, but it's kind of like that, in my understanding, in my opinion, in my perspective. So yeah. Lupin says Ikigami seems like this grandiose concept, but what it actually is so different from what it appears to be. The translation living kami or living God seems way larger than life, but it's carry, maneuver, give thanks, help people. Yes, yes. Yeah, like it's important to remember like Ikigami does not mean like becoming a god, I guess, like becoming like an exalted existence. But it is like doing your daily work, like Ikigami Konko Daiji sama. But also it's like doing your daily humanness, but in a way that you are naturally exuding the divinity in you. So what I mean by that is like, because like I'm using Konko Daiji-sama as an example because it's very easy to explain, like because we all like know the story, like farmer, he connected to Kami-sama, became Toritsugi mediator, helped people, right? But like when people were calling him Ikigami, like he didn't change appearance wise, he didn't change like human wise. Like he would even write like, I'm got sick, I had to use the bathroom, I had to eat, he was still very human. But the thing is that in spite of the humanness, like just the divinity from his Mitama no Kami was just like naturally there. So people could feel that and people could see it. But how did it come out? And how that divinity kind of came out was through it coming out to connect to the divine whole, to Tenchika no Kami-sama. So it's like whenever he did something, he would communicate to Tenchika no Kami-sama. And that's the important part. The important part is making that connection with Tenchika no Kami-sama, with the divine whole. Because if like you don't try to make that connection, you just kind of stay self-contained in your own, again, like in the mind, in the human mind. The soul and the mind are kind of like in this situation of the human. But when the soul is reaching out to Tenchika no Kami-sama, to the divine whole, that's when it can actually start to get out of the humanness, the human box, the human mind, and towards the divine whole everywhere. And even within ourselves, I'm saying inside and outside, but really Kami-sama's inside too. But it's a matter of connecting to that, and that's how people can feel it coming off the person, and they say like, "Oh, Kigami-sama," or like, "Oh, you're like a god, like you're so good person." Like I don't know, there's something special about you. Like people say that, to Konko Daiji-sama. So and it's not it's not something I can explain in words. Because it's like, okay, what is it, Ikigami? It's like something special, something connected to Kami-sama. It's like I can make a written list, but that doesn't actually explain it. It's like something you just feel. It's something you just kind of feel from, and like innately. So it's kind of like that too. It's not easy to explain, but I'm trying to explain it. But yeah, but basically, don't think about the title. Don't it's not it's like the enlightenment thing again. It's just gonna like don't think about that. Like don't think about like I gotta reach enlightenment. I gotta become Ikigami. I gotta do like don't think about that sort of thing. Just like wash it out of your head. The important thing is just connecting to the divine whole, connecting to the divinity in yourself, and living life with that connection and all the circumstances here and now. And then everything will just flow, right? Everything just flows more through experience, through action, through our thoughts, through our flow, every daily consistent flow. And that is the important thing to focus on. If you think if you start to focus on I'm gonna become Ikigami, it's already over. Like it's already over. Like we're already done. Or if you think I'm gonna get enlightenment, it's already done. It's already done. So instead of thinking about that, just think okay, today's a new day. There's gonna be stuff that happens today, and whenever those things happen, I'm gonna tell Tenchika no Kami-sama. I'm gonna tell Kami-sama about my day. I'm gonna say this happened. Good things, bad things, little things. And just keep practicing that. And then it'll lead you to the right place. It'll lead you to the place where it's naturally your divine wisdom is naturally evolving and naturally coming out and then naturally helping others. So, it's not like it's not like a checklist. It's just don't think about it. Just put your heart towards Kami-sama and towards, goodness, towards balance, towards harmony, and then it flows, but that's the hard part, right? Because you have to keep consistent, and it's not an easy checklist. So that's why it's it sounds simple, but it's very hard when you actually try to do that, especially in our life, because all it takes is scrolling on social media and seeing something that's ridiculously crazy, And immediately it's like, oh my god, like it's like immediately it's like, oh my god, it's all over. Like I cannot exist in this world right now. But it's like in that moment, that's exactly when you should communicate to Kami-sama. Like even in that like moment where you're like, what the fudge? Like you're like everything's weird. It's like craziness. Like, but that is the practice. That is the training, right? So that's important to remember. But yeah. So I want to talk about that part. Like my notes, I said, don't be fanatical. Just let it flow, right? So but yeah, I'm saying this, but like I have a long way to go. I have a long way to go because like there every single day there's something crazy that I have to see, and I'm like Kami-sama, I don't know. Like I don't know, Kami-sama. I don't know. So it's like it's very hard to like actually put into practice, you know. But I want to. I want to try. I want to keep practicing it and keep going because it's important to me. Like I feel like that's really what's important about life. Like I don't want to go through life trapped in my own mind or like stuck in a pattern and stuck without a connection to Kami-sama or connection to my divine self like inside. That's really scary to me. That's like a horror movie to me. So I really want to break out of that, the loop, the human mind soul loop, and I want to like evolve my mind and my soul by reconnecting or connecting to Kami-sama and connecting to my deeper divine self, and that's what's really important. So yeah. So that's my thing I want to share today too. And I guess the last thing I wanted to talk about today, the last topic. Yeah, I wrote. I'm trying to think what's better. I'm trying to think what's better because I don't know if I have time for both. But so the two topics I had written down was like, are we like single hearted or not, or like being a bridge to other people? But I guess I can talk about both. So when there's a term that you kind of hear a lot in Kongo and like even elsewhere sometimes, and it's called like, oh hi Matt, thank you so much, I've been good, thank you so much for coming, hello. Yes. So yeah, there's a term you hear a lot called single hearted or like ishi, and I think this is like a complicated terminology. So like the official like understanding of single heartedness, right? It means a lot of people, a lot of senseis even say like it means to be like completely fully like devoted only to like the one particular kami-sama you're close to. So like whether that's Tenchikano kami-sama or like another kami-sama, like you gotta be like completely single-hearted, devoted, like only them. And that's, I get it. Like why? Because it's important. Like you can't, like it's important not to be like wishy-washy, you know? Like it's important not to be like treating divinities, whether that's the divinity in your own heart or outer like outside of your own heart, like in the whole world. It's important not to treat them frivolously, like like a lot of people treat them like fictional characters or like Pokemon. Like I see that a lot online, like or like even people who are Christian, they treat like Jesus as like their Oshi, like as if he's like a K-pop idol, and they like draw fan art with them and Jesus, and it's like it's okay, it's kind of funny to me, but also it's like it's I don't know, like it's kind of funny, and I think it's kind of cute, but I at the same time I don't. Yeah, I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot. Maybe because I spend time on like Twitter, but like I've seen people, especially a lot of girls, they draw themselves like with Jesus, and they're kind of like looking at each other like romantically, or like I saw fan art where like the girl, like she was like holding Jesus like the Pieta, and it was kind of like it was like Yume shipping with Jesus. And it was just like I've seen a lot of interesting things on the internet, so just kind of wild rising someone's a really wild idea. Yeah, Lupin, I can show you the fan art later. Like it's interesting. I mean, it's okay. Like I'm not being a prude about it. I'm not like people just do whatever they feel like. But oh my god, yeah, Redeem, Redeem Son knows. There's a whole Jesus is my husband movement too. Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like he's an Oshi. Like he's like the K-pop guy. You have a little plushie of him, and then there's like the card. I'm not into that, but like I've seen it, and there's a lot of it. It's very interesting. It's very fun. It's kind of funny. It's cute. I don't know. It's like okay, yeah. Living is the internet's the best and the worst of us. That's an ancient movement though. Oh well, yeah, it can be, but this is like the internet version is different. The internet version's different. But yeah, it's okay. I don't know. I'm not here to judge people, but but at the same time, if like you really the instances is very interesting, right? Yeah. Though I'm trying to be for legal reasons, I'm trying to be nice on the stream, but you know, but yeah. So no, but okay. But jokes aside, so I mean, like again, like people have free will. That's good. But an exciting modern twist, Lupin says. Yes, exactly. I've seen crazy things on the internet. But but yeah, if you really so like here's the thing, right? So a lot of people who kind of are into that kind of thing, I think it's also like a genuine way to like connect to divinities. And I think in some level it does like it like psychologically can bring you closer, but also feel in the same way that so hear me out. So in the same way that you wouldn't if you wanted to be closer to another person, right? Is it respectful to, treat that person as a character, right? Is it respectful to make fan art of yourself like with your friend and like or like write fan fictions with yourself and your friend. I mean, and it's not a joke, it's like you're serious about it, and like like if someone did that to me, I would be kind of like I would feel disrespected a bit because I mean, if it wasn't a joke, like if that was like their way of wanting to be closer to me as a genuine connection, I would feel kind of bad and I would feel disrespected and I wouldn't feel like they were seeing me as a real person, like a complicated real person with my own thoughts and feelings. Like I wouldn't feel that from the person who did that. Right? So in the same way, if you wanted to genuinely connect to divinity, um, and again, like because inside of us is divine souls, like Mitama no Kami-sama, the other divinities are also in a way like Mitama no Kami-sama, right? So they all have their own personalities, their own free will, their own thoughts and feelings, and all like complexity, right? And in the same way, you'd want to be closer to a person to make a genuine connection. You wouldn't treat them as a character. You wouldn't treat them with that level of, you wouldn't do that. Maybe at some point you could do it for like fun or like a way to show affection. Like, sometimes me and my friends, we make like OCs or like, little plushies or like little fun things. But that's after making a genuine connection. And there's still a level of respect to it. It's not like it's not like a shallow level. It's like a deeper level that comes from genuinely understanding the person deeper. So in the same way, like when we want to connect to divinity, like we should try to approach it as if we're wanting to become friends or become closer with another person, you know, in my opinion. Because again, like, you know, you treat others how you want to be treated, even if that other is a divinity, especially so, I feel. So that's kind of how I feel about it. And, you know, and then, so what I mean, so going back to single heartedness, it's like, so, like showing devotion to a divinity, to Tenchi Kami-sama, to another, to any other god, because I know not everyone watches Konko, but it still applies, I feel. You know, it should come from a place of like genuinely wanting to connect to them, and having that devotion and connection. Again, it's also natural. It comes from a genuine place. It shouldn't be forced, right? So a lot of people hear like single hearted and they think it should be, again, like a checklist, like I have to be this way and I have to do this. But it's more like approaching with sincerity, and then from that genuine bond that you build, it naturally comes to be more close, to be more devoted, you know. So I think that's something that it's important to remember, when it comes to like thinking about like if you're devoted enough or not. It's just a matter of building a relationship. So the same way that you build a relationship with a person, it's not different than it is with a divinity. You know, you show respect at first, you show formalities at first, and then over time you can become closer. But then even then there's still like respect. You know, you can't just like do whatever you want to someone else, right? You have to respect their autonomy and respect who they are as a person, and, you know, have conversations and have communication. So it's the same way here. Like it's not different, you know. And then there's another aspect to single heartedness, and especially this pertains to like ikigami and like Tenchi no Kami-sama, where single hearted doesn't mean just like devotion. It means like your heart is aligned. It's like it's one with Tenchi no Kami-sama. And what does that mean? It means like your your goal, like your goals, I don't know, your thoughts, your feelings, your wishes, they're matching with Tenchi no Kami-sama. You know, it's like you also want people in the world to be helped and saved. You also want there to be harmony and balance. You it's such a natural connection that you just embody it. And then single-hearted means like a heart as one with Kami-sama, with Tenchi no Kami-sama. And that because it's so connected, you just naturally act and speak in a way that aligns to Tenchi no Kami-sama. And that is also what a part of what makes ikigami as ikigami, because the single-heartedness, you're so connected to the will and the thoughts of the universe of Tenchi no Kami-sama that you just like, it just naturally comes out. It's like naturally embodied. And I think we all have moments like that. I think we all kind of have that like deep down, you know, those kami-sama moments where it's like we, you know, when we want to help people, we want to make people happy, we want to, you know, see good in the world, we want to, you know, we want everyone to be okay. But, you know, not always. Sometimes, you know, sometimes I get like, oh, this person's crazy or something, you know, or like I get really frustrated, like, you know, like frustrated, like angry at people who are like bigots or something, you know, and maybe like, you know, like, I mean, I think that's like it's adjacent, you know, getting angry at a bigot is because I want the world to be okay, but it's not the kami-sama level yet, you know. Kami-sama is like seeing bigotry and like is like concerned about it and like wants it to stop and wants them to open their hearts and change their hearts. But Tenchikano Kami-sama's gonna be like, oh my god, like Kami-sama's not gonna do that. Like I'm gonna do that, but not Kami-sama. Because Kami-sama has a lot of patience. They have a lot of patience. They're like super like wise and like, you know, they know. But me, I'm like, this person's crazy. They're so annoying. Like, oh my god, and I'm complaining. So I'm not there yet, but you know, it's kind of like it's still there. You know. Lupin says, I feel like at this point, Kami-sama is nearly always in my heart and mind. I still don't feel like I've achieved Ishin. I guess yes. No, that's completely normal. Like me too. Like I'm always like yapping to Kami-sama, like always. But I know like it's like very like the level I don't know how to explain it. Like the level Tenchikano Kami-sama is at, like they have so much wisdom and so much like experience and like knowledge and like love for people, like a parental love, that it goes so deep. And I genuinely don't even know if it's possible for me to feel that way, because sometimes, you know, I get so angry at people in the world, and I think of them as an other. You know, I'm like that person, that other person who's not me. You know, they're another person. Go away from me. You know, but the Tenchikano Kami-sama, they're not other. They're not go away. It's they're a child to them. Even if they've even if there's something really, really horrible that happened, it's like a tragedy, and Kami-sama's really upset and they don't want this to happen, and they're upset and they're hurt, but they still see that person as a child of them. And it's really emotional. But I'm not there yet. No, I'm not there yet. I accept that. I accept I'm not that level yet. But I get emotional, like feeling how Tenchikano Kami-sama looks at people and understands people. And for me, it's like an outsider observing how Tenchikano Kami-sama feels. But I cannot feel the same way yet. But I want to, but it's very hard. I don't know if I can, but I want to try. But it's very, very, very hard because, you know, it's just so many things hard to. I think even like humanness aside, I think even if I was just existing as a Mitama no Kami-sama, I think it would be hard for me to reach that level. Just the scale of existence is completely different. That's why Ishin is so intense, right? Like true Ishin. So that's completely normal, Lupin, you know. So we gotta just keep going, you know, keep trying to understand Kami-sama, you know, and like how they feel and like how they look towards humanity, and not just humanity, but like all of existence. And that's another layer. I'm not even there. I'm not even close, like, you know, to understanding all of that, the next level beyond humanity. Um, yeah, it's just so much, right? So, so yeah, but that's okay. That's okay for me because it's like, okay, I still have a long way to go. Still going. It gives me something to look forward to, you know. So gives me something to keep practicing. So but it's not easy. Um, but yeah, so that's also kind of what I wanted to say. About like single-heartedness. It's like it's not that simple either. It's not just about like, you know, it's not just about a checklist. It's a whole thing. It's like a whole thing. And I probably didn't even explain it the best way I could, but I hope I could try to like introduce kind of the understanding that I've come to reach right now, and hopefully I evolve this understanding more in the future. Vadim San says, Treating others as precious children of Tenchika no Kami-sama was a huge revelation for me that changed my approach, to be honest. Ah, yes, so much. It's like it's so different, you know. It's so like you can understand it, but like to embody it is so it takes a lot. It takes a lot of practice. But you know, like I think that was something that I thought about too, because it's like you know. So I was thinking about the teaching where it's like don't kill others. Oh, hi Terrence, welcome. I'm glad to see you came. So you know, this is a teaching that's like don't kill others in your heart. Like you know, don't like wish like harm upon others. Like even if they did something bad to you, like don't you know turn that back on them. And I would be like, but sometimes like people are really, you know, there's some really evil people out there. Sorry, I like shook the table. There's really evil people out there. But if you asked like if I was a mother and someone told me like and I had like a daughter or a son that was really bad, and then someone told me you should kill your son because he did this, like oh my like oh my god, like now it's like a situation, right? Like I don't think like as a mother it's like thinking of a child, like killing your own child is like huge, right? Like it's like a whole like now it's like a whole thing, right? Like I know I know that it happens in the world. Like I know that I'm not naive to believe that all parents are just very like innately not going to kill children, and like even animals kill their own children sometimes. But for the sake of like, you know, thinking about a child that you love um abstractly and like an ideal parent, right? From the human perspective, I couldn't kill my child. I could not do that. So it's like then I'm like, so if you like ask a kami-sama to like stop someone or like that person shouldn't be alive anymore, to kami-sama it's like very painful because they acknowledge this person is doing harm and they acknowledge it's a tragedy and they acknowledge this is really bad, and they don't want it to be that way. But to kami-sama, like they cannot help but see like all of existence is kind of like their child, right? And like humanity and like the mitama no kami-sama, it's like it can't be severed. That link, it can be severed between like me and like another mitama no kami, because we're like like siblings. I get like sibling level, like I don't know, I hate like go away, right? But the Tenshinhan no kami-sama, that's like the child relationship is always going to be there, and it's like everything becomes more, you can understand it from a deeper perspective when you try to think about it that way. And again, this is all like approximations because we're just I'm trying to explain this from a human world perspective and understanding and like language, and it's very limited. So it's just like an approximation, but like the actual level is like they're not. It's not even just a child, but like everything is like a part of Tenchika no Kami-sama. Like everything is connected deeply. So it's even like a part of themselves in a way, not just a child, but like a part of themselves, like in a deep, deep way. And like to some parents, I know that like their child is like an extension of them, but like you recognize they're independent. And for Kami-sama, it's the same, but it's like it's just deeper. You know, I can't explain it, but I hope I'm trying to convey this well. It's just, and anyway, to reach that level of where you're connected with Kami-sama on that level, it's extremely difficult. So, yeah. And again, it's easier to say it. It's harder to do it, you know? Lupin says, that was a teaching Casey San Francisco discussed on Sunday. Oh, wow. The timing is crazy. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I guess that's like coming someone's show, like the teaching. So, but yeah, it's interesting. Like it's interesting as in like there's a lot of new ways to approach like this understanding. And again, like it's not just like the checklist. It's not just like following the like I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta do the. It's like it's just absorbing everything and embodying it and understanding it from experience in and of itself. And again, like I'm not saying that we don't need teachings and we don't need like to follow rituals or traditions, because again that's like the foundation, like that's like where you start, like that's how you get introduced to it, that's how you get orientated, that's how you kind of see what it's all about. But after that, then you move forward, right? Then you move to your actual practice. So yeah, and then of course like the senseis are there to help you along the way. um and again, even if you're not Konko Faith, like there's people you can turn to who are like more experienced in the path you're following, and they can help you because they've walked the path farther. So now you're here, and then they can be like, well, yeah, when I was on that path, I did, and then they can help you. So, but in Konko Faith, like Toritsugi is really like we're lucky because we can do Toritsugi, and we can ask the senseis for guidance and things like that. So it's really good. Like even for me, like I'm I'm a sensei minister, um, because I've walked to a certain point, but I know that I'm not the same level as like my senseis, right? Because they've walked even farther and they've experienced so much more. And like some senseis, like my sensei, he like when he was in California, um, he got like he got like robbed at gunpoint. Like they were like he had a gun to his head at one point, and he was just like Kami-sama, like he prayed to Kami-sama in that moment with like an actual gun in his face, and like facing death or like worse, and he was like immediately turned to Kami-sama, and like, can I do that? I don't know. I don't know. I would probably like I would either go like I would either panic or I would go into fight or flight or freeze or fawn. Like I would have a response, right? Um, I like to say that I would pray to Kami-sama immediately, but I don't know because I've never been in that situation, so I don't know. And I knock on wood, I hope I'm not in that situation. Knock on wood. Um, but that's the difference, right? Like the difference of experience and knowledge and time that has passed. That's why like I can ask my sensei like for guidance because he's been through so much, right? So yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lupin says Kishi sensei with that hardcore faith. Exactly. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's why he's like that's why people call him legendary, because like he's been through a lot of situations. But through each situation, he was relying on Kami-sama to help him through every situation. And it's just like, that's how you grow the faith, through like time and experience, and like keep trying. If it says that's absolutely wild, yeah, it was wild when I heard it. I was like, what? Like, and it's not even like there's been so many other senseis that have gone through similar situations. It's just like the world is crazy. The world is crazy, and we don't know what's gonna happen, and especially nowadays in our era. So yeah. Yeah. But like that's the thing, right? Like it's not just like that's what I mean by it's like you can't just like say you're done at the checklist. Like you crossed all the things on the to-do list of practicing religion or faith, and then you're done. Like that's not how it is. You keep going through it every stage in life, even those really scary moments. So yeah. But hopefully, like knock on wood, none of us go through that level of intensity. Hopefully, we're just going through our lives. But But it is what it is. Like, right, life can have so many things happen. So yeah. But yeah, sorry, we talked about a lot today. I think I pretty much covered everything I wanted to talk about today. So I think it's a good place to end also, because it's 2 a.m. for me, and anytime, I'm not sure the time where you guys are, but we're kind of like on the hour. So I think it's a good place to close for today. But yeah, thank you so much for today, for coming and listening. I really appreciate it. And again, like, if you have any questions or like thoughts, please feel free to let me know through email or message. But yeah, I'll try to think about some more good topics that can be helpful. So yeah, thank you so much for today. Thank you, Dim-san. Thank you, Lupin-san. Thank you, everyone. Terrence-san, Sophie, Rai, Inaza, and Matt. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, bye for today. Have a good night or a good day wherever you are. So yeah, take care. Bye bye for now. Bye bye.